All right, guys, welcome to this episode of You Need You podcast. Last episode was a good one with my father as the guest, but in this episode, we're having someone else join the podcast to talk about mental health, men's mental health, whatever it may be, whatever comes up. This podcast is designed to help individuals that tune in and listen to it. So today's guest is Ethan, and Ethan, welcome. Ethan Nichols is here, and I want you to just kind of give us a brief introduction about yourself, what you do, what you like to do, and then we'll get into the mental health stuff. All right.
All right, yeah, guys. My name is Ethan. I'm a student at Coastal Carolina. My major is economics. My minor is psychology. So I do study psychology a bit. Um, I'm also vice president of the Men's Mental Health Club, and I've always been a big advocate for it. And yeah, I just like to help people and talk about it. So it's cool.
Cool, man. So I'm just gonna hop into these questions, and as we go through these questions, just it's this podcast is an open platform. So if you want to go down rabbit
Yeah,
hole on something, go for it. Don't feel like you need to stick to a certain you know what I mean. Just be
for sure.
yourself and say whatever you want to say. All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
So some questions on men's mental health. What initially
Mhm.
sparked your interest in advocating for men's mental health?
So I would say, really, I feel like when you have problems deep inside, you get better awareness for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I could always see how it affected people like when I was younger, but it was hard for me to like relate in any way, so I didn't know like where people were coming from or any sort of that sense. But I would say like when I started getting it worse, I was like, okay, this is like, this is definitely a
Yeah.
big deal and it's a serious thing. And, after that, anybody else like that had issues or anything like that, I was, always wanted to help and do anything I could. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool how like your own personal like it almost broadens your perspective, you know? I definitely
Yeah.
relate
Yeah.
to that
Exactly.
because until I was
100%.
like in my 20s, I was like
Yeah.
I had a very easy life and I
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
not
Yeah. That's what I'm
I'd hear
saying.
about
Yeah.
people with depression or whatever and I'd be like,
Mhm.
"Ah, just suck it up, man." Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's,
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah, like you wouldn't
And
understand like what exactly they were going through.
yeah.
You're like, what? You're like, is that like a real thing? But then you're like, okay, you're like, I understand you.
Yeah. So that's cool. Do you want to talk about anything specific and like personally?
Yeah, I would say like when I was like 16, 17 was when like COVID pretty much hit. And
Gotcha.
I would say that's when like everything like really started. I was just in my room all the time, couldn't really go places. So you're kind of just left alone with your thoughts. And when those
Yeah.
start racing, that's when you get anxiety, you get depression. The more anxiety you get, the more depressed you are. So that's kind of like where it all escalated. And I remember I knew so little about it that I would be looking up on my phone, like, what is this feeling? And it would say, oh, anxiety,
Yeah.
depression. I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm like, I got that? Like, what? So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's where it definitely started. And yeah, after that, I just got more knowledge about it for sure.
Yeah, I think COVID definitely impacted a lot of people. It's
Definitely.
probably a very like a nationwide
Yep.
depression
Literally,
pretty
dude,
much, man, like
my whole friend group was like feeling the exact same thing at the same time. And I was like,
yeah,
this is weird. Like, we're all getting this right now. So,
yeah. So what do
yeah.
you think that, says about, like, social health and getting out and about and actually living life, how that ties into your mental health?
So truthfully, that's like the biggest indicator itself right there because us humans, we like to be a part of stuff and we like social environments. Like that's how humans have always been. And getting that away from your life and not having that anymore, it
Yeah,
completely starts to change your brain in a way. And that's why I think, even if it's hard, anything like that, trying to get out there, trying to do stuff, it just helps you at the end of the day. So I think it's
yeah,
always a
kinda
good
keeps
thing.
your, like gives your brain something to do.
For real, literally,
And
yeah.
while I do think there's a time and a place for, like, kind of, like not necessarily meditation, but, like, just, like, kind of
Hmm.
being alone and, like, reflecting on
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
It's definitely important to do the opposite and, like,
Hmm.
stimulate your brain for sure. I remember
Exactly.
during
A healthy balance is like the most important thing ever, for sure.
yeah, because during COVID, I was on, like, War Call of Duty Warzone for, like, 12 hours a day,
Dude,
man.
same, dude.
And I
Warzone
was,
all
like,
day and night.
drinking and shit. I'm just like,
Yeah,
"This is
yeah.
unhealthy."
Yeah, dude, exactly.
But, yeah, I was actually during COVID, I was in the army at that time, so it was very
Yeah.
it was kind of I don't know. I feel like it was easier to be in the army during
Mm-hmm.
COVID because we lived
Mm-hmm.
in the barracks with everybody. And so
Okay,
when
yeah.
quarantine happened, it was like, hey, everyone just stay home from work. But your
Yeah, just
buddies
don't go
still live
anywhere.
down the hall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it
yeah.
was
So that's
still
cool.
yeah, yeah. So it still had a good like social interaction, I guess. Still had good social
Right.
interaction. But
Okay.
and
I
then
got
in the peak part of COVID is when I like left and went overseas. So it
you.
was
Okay.
like
Okay.
we were all joking. We're like, this is a good year to be gone. But until
Yeah.
you're over in Iraq and you're being forced to wear a mask when it's like 100
Oh
degrees out, you
man.
know,
Yeah, that's
it's like
rough. That's rough.
no one's getting COVID out here, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, they like eventually closed the gym and stuff, and I was like, that's the number
Mhm.
one thing that I do for my mental health, and
Yep.
y'all just
Yep.
closed it.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm
There you
like,
go.
what are you doing? All
Yep.
right, so I'll leap into the next question. In your
Mhm.
experience, what are some common mental health challenges men specifically face? What do you think?
So I would say men specifically, everybody has issues in their own ways, and it's
Yeah,
important for everybody to know that. But men specifically, there is 100% a ginormous stigma that you have to be manly enough to not speak out, to not say anything. And I just don't think that's the truth because we all have those issues. And it's
yeah,
so important to speak about it and to get help when it's necessary. Um, men's suicide rates are proven to be higher. We have issues deep inside, but we can't go to people about it, and that's something that needs to be broken for sure.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I think
Mhm.
it is a hard balance for me personally because like as a guy,
Yeah.
you want to be like tough, manly,
Yeah.
full
Right.
testosterone,
Yep.
all of this stuff. But it's
Yep.
like I don't know. I agree with you. We need to change it. I think it is changing slowly, but like
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing for me is like I like to think about it in like the truth is like what is true, what is real. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And being
Right.
real is being strong. So it's like
Yep.
if you are do have to like talk to somebody or all that type of stuff, it's not a weakness really. It's like, hey,
Right. Right.
this is what's actually happening. Like I
Mm-hmm.
almost feel like in a way from my point of view, because there's a time and a place where you have to like compartmentalize and do what you need to do.
Right.
But I almost feel like from my point of view, it's like not facing the actual issue is almost
Mhm.
like weakness in a way, almost more so
Right.
than what
Right.
people think is
It's
strength.
it's like it's almost causing more issues, and
Yeah.
like you said, truth is strength.
Yeah. And it's just like if you're struggling with something and you keep it in, that doesn't mean
Hmm.
you're strong. That
Yeah.
means
Right. Right.
that almost could like show that not that you're
Like
not
you're
a smart person, but you
right.
when you look at it logically, you're like, oh, the smart thing to do is to take
Uh-huh.
care of this issue so that I can be strong. So
Exactly. There you
yeah, and I
go.
think that's
Yep.
a lot of
And
men
I,
need
I
to
look at
get
it
away from
as
that.
any other sort of like health. I think no matter what, if you're going through any sort of thing with your health at all, like if it's your back, if it's your arms, physical health, anything along those
Yeah.
lines, I think mental health should be looked at as the same way. Just
Yeah.
like somebody needs surgery on their back, something like that, somebody may
Yeah.
need significant therapy, anything along those lines. So,
Yeah, and it's like it's important to mention too because like even physically like different genetics and stuff, like some
hmm
people might be more prone to back injuries. It doesn't make you like
yep.
weaker. That's just how it
Right.
is. And your
That's just
brain's the
how it
same way,
is.
I think
Same thing
anyways.
with genetics. Yeah, same thing with
Yeah.
genetics. Some people have a whole family of mental health, and
Yeah.
it's nothing you did wrong with your life, but you can hit a certain age and it'll just hit you like that, and nothing's wrong with
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
Yeah. So we kind of tapped into this question, but how do you think societal expectations of masculinity specifically impact men's mental health? There is
So
kind of like
yeah,
a stigma, right?
yeah, right, you're right. So yeah, there's a little bit of a stigma with it, and um, which like we talked about, like we don't really believe in that, but a lot of people believe that if you show strength, you can't show weakness, and people think that talking about feelings or anything like that is a weakness, which is just not the case. It's almost the opposite because you need to help yourself so you can be the best version of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say that definitely goes hand in hand. People think masculinity, you can't talk about feelings, anything like that.
Yeah, it's a very weird topic too.
Yeah,
And it's gray
yeah.
area cuz like I know in my in my experience, it's very like coming from the military, like even a physical injury, it's like,
Hmm.
oh, are they like faking it? Are they blowing it out of proportion? Like that's like the
Right.
common like thing to think. It's like,
Hmm.
hey, we're running so much, my knee actually hurts. Does it
Yeah.
hurt? Or is
Yeah.
he trying just to be
Right.
lazy? And
Yeah.
then that's already just the physical side of things. It's not even
Hmm.
tapping into like, hey, I think I'm having like issues in my head. I need help.
Right.
Like, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
like I know from my experience in that environment, it's a lot
Hmm.
like it's very looked down upon. But I
Hmm.
think like I do think everything takes time, unfortunately,
Right.
like to for
Hmm.
society to kind of adapt to it. But I think
Hmm.
this is one thing that's becoming we're more aware of it, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the younger generation's very like a lot of us guys are like, "Hey, this makes sense," you know?
Hmm.
Why
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
why have people for like years just been avoiding their problems and being angry at
Literally.
other people like
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I think another thing that helps a lot is like since we have more research about psychology and mental health, I feel like
yeah.
people just definitely have more awareness now. And we have
Mhm.
statistics that came out. Back then, like before the internet, like they didn't have any of that. They didn't have any of the proof or facts. So they were like, even
Yeah.
if you did feel angry or anything along those lines, anxiety, you might not have even known what it was. You might have just like tried to push it to the side, but then probably built up over a while.
It comes out in other ways. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Mhm.
I know like from being server at work, you know, it's like you
Yep.
see certain people and I like it's interesting to think how people's mental health and like how they deal with it
Mhm.
like affects their actions and how they treat other people. Like I
Right.
even was thinking about like
Mhm.
our podcast like episode and I was like, oh, I should
Mhm.
like ask Ethan what he thinks about this. And
Yeah.
I was driving down the road and like someone like cut someone off or whatever. And this dude like
Uh-huh.
rolls down his window, flips out, and I'm literally sitting in my car. Now, this isn't like a bragging thing, like, oh, I'm such a chill person. It's just literally
Yeah.
like, yeah, I wonder. I'm like,
Mhm.
what makes a person act like that? Like to
Right.
me, it's
Right.
always
Yeah.
like, hey, there's something deeper in their like thought process or something that they're not
Mhm.
dealing with. And then
Yeah.
it like their cup kind of overflows. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If that
That's
makes
exact.
sense.
Yeah, that's the exact way I look at it. Like when I see people like lashing out, yeah, stuff like that, getting too angry, like even like being a server at work, when I know somebody's just like angry right away, I'm like, okay, I'm like, this isn't to do with me. I'm not gonna take it personally. They might be going
Yeah.
through anything in life. Who knows what it is? But
Exactly.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
still be nice to them. I'm gonna still show them compassion. Even if people don't want
Yeah.
to show it back.
Yeah. Sometimes I really just it's very not
Yeah.
politically correct to do, but sometimes I just want to be like, "What is your deal, man? Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can talk to
Yeah.
me." You know what I mean? Like,
No. Yeah.
I you don't
Yeah.
know me, but I'm here. You know?
Right, right, yeah. No, that shows we're all human too. Like we just want to be talked to as a human. So like, especially
Yeah.
like when we're working and like they try to talk to us like that. Like there is sometimes like where I'm just like, okay, like I'll just get short. I'm like, all right. I'm like,
Yeah.
you want this? I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
because it's just like
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like don't
it's crazy.
entertain the negative
Yeah,
energy, really.
not
Yeah.
gonna entertain it.
Yeah, man. All right. So I want to hop into the subject of like physical fitness. If that's cool with you and how that
Yeah.
like kind of plays into your mental health.
Hmm.
How do you believe fitness contributes to mental health and well-being, particularly for men? I don't know. These interview questions are based around men, but if you want to
I
branch out and
got
talk
you.
about whatever, go for it.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. So like physical, anything you're doing physically, it's shown to improve endorphins in the brain.
Yeah.
And it's scientifically and psychologically proven that the more endorphins you have, it relieves anxiety, stress, depression. Um,
Yeah.
and what I think is beautiful about humans too is we all like deal with it in different ways. Like some people use art, music,
Hmm.
anything along those lines as an
Yeah.
output. And I think that's great too. Whatever is working the best for you. But for me, I know that literally, like I said, my endorphins are being released, everything along those lines. I just feel better after a workout about myself. I feel like I have more confidence, that my anxiety, stress, everything is decreased. And I
Yeah.
just think that was when I started getting anxiety and depression, like I said, around like COVID hit. um I That's when I started doing home workouts. And when I started
Okay.
doing that, even though I wasn't in the gym, just something as little as that for like 30 minutes a day, I started
Yeah.
just feel better after. And I was like, wait, I was like,
Hmm.
I can make this work. I can put this in my routine. And yeah, then right when gyms reopened, I started going there. And then never look back. It always helped me. Anytime I'm in a super bad mood, anything like that, the gym, I feel better.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know for me, it's like it's almost become like I've been working out for years, so it's like
Hmm.
almost now it's like if I have a day off, it has
Yeah,
like the like more so than talking about hey when I work out I feel good. It's almost like
yeah.
now when I don't, it's like I do feel like it can tie into other things, but I have this like a
Hmm.
feeling of like I'm lazy, what am I doing?
Yep,
And then I also just
yep,
like physically feel like lethargic. It's like wait,
yeah,
you're supposed to feel tired after you work out, but no, working out gives me
yeah.
energy, and it's like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
it's
Like
weird
when,
to think
literally the
about.
days I don't work out, the days I have to skip the gym for some reason, like I will feel like my muscles and they feel like just weak and I just don't feel good. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like, it that becomes an addiction, honestly. And but I think that's like the
Mhm.
healthiest addiction you can get though. That's like the best
Yeah.
one.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why in my last episode I was talking to my dad a little bit and about like the free dopamine versus like dopamine that you work for. And that's
Right.
kind of like
Yes.
my favorite comparison because it's
Hmm.
like you feel good after the gym and
Hmm.
during the gym because it's like you're
Hmm.
putting in the work and the effort to do so. There's a lot of
Exactly.
things that can like make you feel good temporarily without any
Right.
effort, but
Hmm.
it's like much more rewarding in my opinion.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, whether
Stuff
it's
like you put in the
go
work
ahead.
for, like right when you get that dopamine hit, like you know that you worked for it, and like, and that goes along like with anything. Like if you worked all day, you got home, it feels better to like
Yeah.
watch a show on your couch, or play
Then
some
if you just
games.
woke
Like
up and did it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like when I just wake up and start playing like a game, I'm like, oh, I'm like, I this like does not feel good right
It
now.
doesn't feel naturally right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's funny you say that because I always feel like I don't know the saying. It's like my rent is paid or whatever. Like your dues are pay your dues.
Yeah.
It's like
Mhm.
for the day I did it. It's like and now I
Mhm.
can
Yeah.
if I want to have some ice cream and watch some TV till midnight I can.
Then I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it all works together like mental health
Mhm.
wise.
Yeah,
Because
exactly, for sure. Like,
that stuff can be good for you too.
oh, absolutely. Like humans, like literally since the early days of humans, like we had to work for our food, we had to hunt our food,
Yeah,
anything along those lines. So like, that goes hand in hand with today's society. Like you work for something, and then when you get it, it just feels that much better.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, can you share a personal fitness routine that you do? Like how many days a
Yeah,
week or
yeah.
stuff like that, if you want?
Yeah. So I do PPL, so push pull legs. So
Okay,
I
cool.
do yeah. So I do chest and triceps on my push day, pull days, back and biceps, and then legs, just all legs that day. Personally what I like to do though, I like to split legs every single other PPL. So I'll do more focus on like hamstrings, like glutes around those areas on one
Gotcha.
day. Then the other day is going to be quad dominant. So that's what I
Okay,
like to do with
cool.
that. Calves and abs, I do try to just throw in there throughout the week too.
Mhm.
Um, Mainly on like a pull on a back day because I feel like I have a little bit of extra time. So I'll probably do a little bit of those. But yeah, and then so yeah, I do that 6 days a week, sometimes five, sometimes stuff does
Yeah,
happen
yeah.
that I have to hit five. Or then some other times I might just need an extra rest day in general because there's been some days where I don't know why, but I'm way more sore and I
Yeah,
know nothing is moving in the gym. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna
yeah.
take one more rest day. But yeah, so that's pretty much my routine with that.
Cool, yeah. That's similar kinda what I do. I do the chest tries. I do I do shoulders as their own day,
Okay,
and I don't
gotcha.
have a leg day.
That's
I don't
valid.
have a leg day. So,
Okay.
if I do legs, I'll do,
Mhm.
like you said, I'll split it up, but I'll do, like,
Okay.
quads or, like, hamstrings at the end of my chest day, just something really
Yeah.
small. Because I
Okay.
do, like in my head, it's a lot of running for my leg workouts, so they're already
Yeah.
sore, and
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just not a huge leg fan in general, but that's
I
why I got
trust me,
chicken
I hear you
legs,
then.
dude.
Dude, if somebody likes legs, I'm like, what are you going through? Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
how's that even possible?
People are like, "Don't skip leg day." I'm like, I'm
Yeah, I'm like,
running if
I'm
that
like,
counts, but
I don't know. Maybe next Christmas I'll hit another leg day. Like, who knows?
yeah.
Like,
But yeah, man, that's cool. I think
yeah,
like even for like people beginning, I think even like just 4 days a week is good, to start.
yeah,
Or even like
mm-hmm,
3,
mm-hmm,
like in the gym wise. And then
yeah,
obviously tying other things like,
mm-hmm,
going for a jog or walking even is
yeah.
good. I know a lot of
Literally,
people
like. any sort of thing you're just beginning, like that's the most important step. If you just start, like doesn't matter when, where, like you just start, and it can only get better, you know. So,
Yeah, no,
hmm
it's true.
yeah.
So, do you what do you find best, like physical activity wise, for your mental health? Like, do you do anything else other than the gym? Like, do
hmm
you play sports for fun or go for runs or anything like that? And then which
Yeah.
one do you think is
For
best for you?
for sure, I think in general, I think breath work is one of the most important things. That's probably
Okay.
number one. Going to the gym, no matter what, you're gonna breathe in a different way. But I think cardio specifically, it's just you get a runner's high. You're
Yeah.
literally, you're using every bit of oxygen you can, and that is proven to release the most endorphins. So I would say cardio has helped me the most. Like if I'm really like in a bad headspace, I'm like I'm going on a
Yeah.
run, going on a run,
Yeah.
and right after that run, I just always feel a million times better. There's never been one time where I'm like, oh, that didn't work.
Yeah.
No, because it's scientifically releasing endorphins, and you will
Yeah.
feel better. You know?
That's like my favorite thing to do too, is the running.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I love working out for like the physique aspect of it. Like you want to
Yep.
have like muscles and stuff. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like when it comes, I was like, I always you're like kind of work out for your body, but you run for your mind kind of deal.
Yep.
That's
Completely
how I think
agree.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Uh-huh.
it's like
Yep.
I have buddies that say they've never experienced the runner's high, and I'm like, bro, I don't want
Really?
to be you. Yeah, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
cannot imagine that. And then they've
No, you
like felt.
see.
They're like, I think I felt it once. Like one of my buddies said to me, I was like,
Yeah.
dude, every time I get past like a 3-4 mile mark, and then if
Yep.
I get up in the higher miles, I'm just
Yeah. Oh
like I
yeah.
was over 9 miles one day, and my head started
Uh-huh.
tingling, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm about to
Yeah.
pass out
Or if
or
this
if I'm
feels
on
good,
drugs, dude. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Like you
I don't
just
know
get in
what's
a certain
happening.
zone. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the best at cardio, but like when I do it, like I'll try to run at least like 3 or 4 miles. And yeah,
Hmm.
like around like I would say for me, the third mile, I'm like in a different zone. Like I just feel amazing and like yeah,
Yeah.
like I think that's the best thing. And like yeah, like along with like breath work, like you can look at like meditation as that as well. Anything that's
Yeah.
like changing your breathing rhythm in some way or
Hmm.
another, I think is so beneficial for the mind.
Yeah, I've heard about stuff like that, but I've never really like taken time to do it
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
So that'd be
I
cool to
do
look
it
into.
I do it once in a while, but like when I have like it's just if I have some extra time, but it definitely does help. And it helps you become more patient in other aspects of your life. So I would say
Yeah,
it's a good thing for sure.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So this is a question kind of around like a daily schedule. Like how do you
Mhm.
encourage like other young men to like fit it into their schedule?
Yeah. So I think like at the end of the day, Um, I think we all can fit certain stuff in our schedule. It's just a matter like if we want to or not.
Yeah.
Like all of us, no matter what, most people have ended up scrolling one day on their phone for a couple hours, an hour or two.
Yeah.
We
Don't think
all
about
have
that. Yeah.
some sort of extra time that we're inputting in different areas of our life, and
Hmm.
I would say if it becomes that important to you, you'll put it in your life. But if it's not
Yeah.
something, your life would be inputted with different stuff.
Yeah. I almost like for me, it might be like a personality type thing because
Hmm
different things work for different people.
Yeah.
But I'll use the term ritual loosely, but like just
hmm
having like a specific, like every single day, like whatever time my class is at, in the morning, I'll
hmm
like wake up, brush my teeth, do all that type of stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, then I'm packing my t-shirt for after I work out. I always wear like my gym tank top under like a
Yeah.
hoodie to school.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
this whole like ritual thing. And
Yeah.
I go to my
Yeah.
class, like either drink
hmm
my pre-workout at the like 10 minutes left of class to get me pumped up or wait till
Yeah.
after and then I'll just slam it and like slam
Exactly.
some like gummy worms or something, to get some carbs
Yep.
in me. And I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah. Get that pump.
that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing that I think is like super beneficial, like for someone who likes an organized lifestyle, because it's
hmm
like at that point, it becomes so much part of your routine that it's like if
Yeah.
you miss it, it's kind of like it feels off. So
Right. Yeah.
even like I've had days too where it's like I literally like get out of class, I walk over to the gym, I'll
hmm
go up in there, it's kind of crowded, I'm super sore, I
hmm
do like a set of curls or whatever, and I'm like, all right, I'm out. but it's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
like this whole like you showed up, you still
Showing up.
followed the routine for me. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then
Right.
also like to tie in, like that's where I kind of get my caffeine from. I mean, I have coffee in
Right.
the morning, but I also
Yeah.
enjoy the pre-workout smack of caffeine in my life. So
Right. Yeah.
it
I
all
think
kind of like,
that's a big thing with the gym too. It's like thinking of that caffeine pre-workout. It almost makes you just want the gym more. And I'm not
yeah,
complaining, that's not, it's honestly kind of a hack. You're like, wait,
yeah,
like
it
when I get
is.
to the gym, I can get pre-workout in.
Yeah.
So
I've
yeah.
definitely had
Right.
moments where it's gone the wrong way, and I'll be in the locker room and I'll be like, wait, because I take my pre workout and I
Yeah.
just like, I'm on my phone or social media, whatever, trying to like a new
Yeah.
idea for the podcast or something. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
not thinking this way before I took my pre workout. This is supposed to
Right.
be
Yeah.
used in the gym, and I'm over here like
Right.
on my
And
phone,
you think
like
of all areas of your life
school.
after that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, no,
But
routine in general is, very important. I like, I try to do like something along those lines too. I'll like have class, get out of class at 3. I'll go straight to the gym. I'll try to get it out the way if I can. Say there's
yeah,
a reason, like say like I have work or something or I got to go somewhere. I'll make sure that, see, I go to 2 different gyms. I go to the one on campus, then there's also one off campus that's 24/7 that I go to.
okay.
And that, like, if I can't fit it throughout the day, I'll go like later at night, like 8, 9 o'clock, something along,
Yeah,
maybe like even 10, 11. I've gone it sometimes, but yeah, I
yeah.
think anybody can implement it in your schedule if you want it long enough.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
also ties into like whether I know some people like working out with workout partners and like having people in the
Yeah.
gym with them. But like
Right.
for me, it is that like because now I live with Jocelyn. It's like I'm with her
Hmm.
24/7 unless she's at work.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like
Yeah.
everyone's like this, I don't know. My opinion on the whole like you need alone time is not really how I see it. Cause I
Yeah.
enjoy being with her a lot. So it's like when
Yep.
she's at work, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, man, can she just come home, dude? Like I don't
Yeah.
want to just be
I
sitting
know
here.
what you mean. Yeah. Some
Yeah.
people are like, oh, like I want to be alone. Like I need like a whole week. I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I look at it
Yeah.
like you do too, for sure.
Yeah. So, um, sorry, I just had a technical issue, but we're
Oh,
good.
you're good. You're good. We're good.
So, but yeah, with that, like the gym is like just that like 30 minutes, hour and a half that I
Hmm.
do actually have like my alone time. That's
Right.
where I was going with it. That's kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
like where I can, because I remember when we first started dating, like she came up to me in the gym. I was like doing whatever, like have my music blasting, and
Yeah.
she like pull out my earbuds. She asked me something, and then later she's like, "Why were you so short with me in the gym?" And I'm like, I didn't even
Yeah.
notice. But now that
Yeah.
she mentioned it, I was like, well, that's kind of like to me, I'm like so in the zone that
Yeah.
like it's like that is the time where it's like not that I wouldn't talk to her, you know what I mean? But it's very
Right.
like
That's
I
the only
wasn't
time, like,
aware.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
wasn't
I
aware
know
that
what
I'm
you
like
mean.
completely like in a zone and then like,
Yeah.
why are you bothering me type deal, you know?
Oh, that's funny. Did you guys meet at school or at work?
So we actually met at work. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you.
So it was summer of 2023. Yeah.
Okay. Got you. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
That's a pretty cool story, man. Like, we were, I was like acting like a crazy person. Like, I don't think I knew you back then, or
I don't
I
think
might
so.
have, but
Maybe,
yeah.
yeah.
Like I was like, I drink like every day, like just off the rails,
Mhm.
like doing
Okay, yeah.
reckless, like very self sabotage lifestyle kind of thing.
Yeah. I got
And
you.
when I met her, it was very like this girl, like I
Kind of
was
like your
obviously
piece.
interested in
Like your
her.
piece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, but I was also like kind of surprised. I'm like, she likes me, you know what I mean? Like in
Hmm.
my eyes, it was like she kind of like is wife material. But at the time when I
Yeah.
first met her, I was like, this girl seems like really mature and kind of serious. And then
Yeah.
like when I like started to get the hint that she liked me, I was
You're like, whoa.
like I'm living a goofball lifestyle right now. I
Dude,
don't know
yeah,
if she wants to
yeah.
like really meet like who I really am, you know?
Yeah,
But
I was like, when I met my girlfriend, like we actually met on TikTok, and like
mm,
I uploaded some, like, this is when I was like 17. I just uploaded some random TikTok, and I was like, oh, like it's kind of a thirst trap, kind of not, but I was like, oh, like I need somebody to
yeah,
rewatch all the Marvel movies with me in chronological
yeah,
order, like that. And then she commented under it, and then she was like, oh, I will, and I was like, oh, I was like, like this girl's cute, but she, on TikTok people live like anywhere in the world. I
yeah,
was like, she probably lives
yeah,
like California, like somewhere far away, something like that.
yeah.
And then she's like, I'm in Myrtle Beach. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm in Myrtle
That's
Beach. So like,
crazy.
Yeah. So and then
It's
yeah, so
like
it worked
that
out.
platform can reach the whole world, but the
Yeah,
person that
literally,
that's
dude.
cool,
It's
man.
crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
That is really cool. Yeah, one
Yeah.
of my favorite stories is I had an idea that she liked me, but I wasn't
Mhm.
sure. And
Yeah.
she doesn't drink coffee. Like she don't like coffee, but one day
Mhm.
like she had messaged me and she's like, "Hey,
Mhm.
what was that?" Like I didn't know she didn't like coffee at the time, obviously,
Yeah.
but she's like, "What was that coffee you ordered the other day? It looked really good. I want to try it." And
Yeah.
then at work, she showed up with it, like for me, not even like she didn't
Shoot,
want to
dude.
try it.
Yeah.
She played me off the bat. I was like, this
Wow.
girl's sneaky, man. I go no, but
Yeah.
that's when I
Dang,
realized I
that's
was like,
sweet.
oh wait, she's actually interested in me. So like,
Yeah.
we joked that she made the first move because like
Mhm.
of that, but you know, I
Yep.
was obviously interested in her just because I thought she was cute. But
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was pretty cool. It's pretty
Sweet.
cool. And
Yeah.
ever since
That's
then, man,
awesome.
it's been like night and day. I
Hey,
mean,
man, that's awesome.
yeah, like 75 hard. You've heard of 75 hard, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like that's kind of like that was I kind of hit a point because I was like struggling a lot mentally
Mhm.
and just like looking back, like I do realize like I'm like it took like just kind of like saying things out loud and hearing other people talk to me about it. But
Mhm.
it's like I was living like I was self-sabotaging everything I did. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I was
Yeah.
doing things that you would
Right.
like look at a person and be like, do they like hate themselves? But I didn't think like I
Mm.
never like thought I hated myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't
Mhm.
like that. So I was just
Right.
like being very reckless. Like I thought like doing just crazy stuff like
Yeah.
drinking and like
Right.
riding my
Yeah.
motorcycle and stuff like that. And it's just
Yeah.
when I met
Mhm.
her, it was very like even though she's younger than me, she's 6 years younger than me, but I was
Yeah.
like, holy cow, man, like she's more mature than I am, you know?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
I had the rude awakening, like, and that's one
Mhm.
thing that I like give her credit for because I like did
Mhm.
change a lot and I kind of
Mhm.
turned my life around, but
Yeah.
she never was like, "Hey, you have to do this or I'm out," you know?
Yeah.
It
Right.
was
See,
just
that's
kinda like
awesome.
me getting to a point where I was, like, reading the room kinda, and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
not a huge fan of alcohol, and I'm over
Yeah.
here like a nutcase," you know? So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that's when I
I hear
decided,
you.
I was like, "Hey, if I don't wanna lose this girl, like,
Yeah.
I need to do something crazy." So that's when I did 75
Right.
hard, and after that,
Wow. That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, from then on I finished that this time last year, so yeah, it's
Okay.
been a year, it's
Dang.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, dude,
yeah.
that's great, man. Yeah, no, literally, like, talk about mental health. Like, that's one thing that really helps a lot of us guys or girls, anything, being in a relationship, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, that, like,
yeah.
genuinely, like, that helped me too. Like, I was going through a bad
Mhm.
time and I was like, like, you're happier. You feel like more at peace.
Yeah.
But,
And I think it's important to point out too, it's like the person matters so much, like as like
mhm.
the right person matters. You know what I mean?
Right,
Because
right.
previously, like I thought I was having fun in a relationship, dude.
Hmm.
Nightmares, man. Like just
Hmm.
I mean, not that that person was a bad person, but it
Yeah.
was just like not good for me personally. You know what I mean?
Right,
And I'm like,
right, dude. Like
I don't think,
some people, if they don't match you,
yeah.
it's gonna worsen your
Mhm.
mental health, dude. It's gonna just not end up good.
And that's why like people are like, "What?" They're like, "How do you know like if the person's the one?" You know, people use that term,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Uh-huh.
I'm just like from what I've experienced, it's like what they bring out in me. Like I've never
Hmm.
had someone like Jocelyn that's like I was with them and literally
Hmm.
everything in my life, like I became more motivated to be better. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
that's literally I've never heard something that so accurately represents me too. Like
Yeah.
it I genuinely feel like a lot of people like don't have like a ginormous impact on me, but like my girlfriend, like I genuinely just was like I saw how like nice and caring she was like every day, and I was like, how do I be that nice? Like she just
Yeah.
brought out the good side of me and just made me want to be better, and made me just want to be a better person. So I
Yeah.
think that's if you see that in somebody, that's the best thing at the end of the
Yeah.
day for sure.
And then on the other side, like there are people that bring out the worst in everybody. It's just how people
Yep.
work, I think, at this point.
Literally,
I'm
literally,
like
yeah,
some people, even friends are that way. It's like some
yeah.
friends you get with and it's like, oh, you're gonna get
Yep.
yourself into something you don't want to be
Yeah.
into.
Some
And then
people
you have
just aren't
friends.
compatible. Some people,
Yeah,
no. Yeah.
that's how it is, I think. But
Hmm.
that's my advice to the audience too, is
Yeah.
like the younger crowd anyways. It's like
Yeah.
and I also like the friendship is probably number one. And then like she's also made me a lot better as a person.
Yeah.
So
Hmm. Yeah,
uh
exactly. That's key for sure. That's a great thing.
yeah. So to branch off a little bit, relationship
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
What do you think is? I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, what do you think is?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be the most impactful thing that you guys have in your relationship, but what is one thing that you
Mhm.
think like keeps it as healthy as it is or as good as it is?
I
Like it can be
think,
as serious or as light
yeah.
as a topic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I think honestly, dates, something as simple as just going out to eat or, like making something cute, it's entertaining like both ways because as the guy, like say you're saying you want to surprise her with flowers or do some big surprise, get her like a boo basket, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
fun for you because you got to get everything together and you want to see her reaction. It's fun for her because she feels nice when she gets the gift, so it's
Yeah.
good both ways, and I feel like that keeps it fresh, and I feel like that is just a very good thing with relationships. Another thing is just like making sure like you guys are just like, and this is hard to explain, but making sure that you guys aren't just boyfriend and girlfriend, but you guys are also like best friends, and you guys
Yeah.
do stuff as like friends with that connection, but it's also your girlfriend. You're like, oh shoot, you're like,
Yeah.
I got both in one,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's like the best feeling in the world to me because I'm
Yeah.
like, I went from a very like I did have like a toxic view of relationships, like very based around
Mhm.
like sex and stuff like that, to being
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh, like this is someone that I love and care about, and like
Yeah.
I just want to like sit somewhere and like watch a movie and eat popcorn with you. You know
Dude,
what I
yeah,
mean? It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. You're like,
don't
you're
even
like, oh,
touch
like
me.
going cute coffee dates, watch a movie,
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like one thing that in my relationship is like Jocelyn and I like it's just I think humor is such a good thing to like keep
Hmm.
alive in your relationship because like
Hmm.
especially I feel like when people start to live together they kind of just like are they're always there. It's like you forget like I'm talking like years down the road probably I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't been
Yeah.
there so I don't know. But I feel like people
Hmm.
like they forget how like thankful they should be that they have that
Right.
person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like when
Yeah.
something comes up, like some small stuff, I was
Hmm.
like people get upset over small things at home, and it's like
Yeah.
to me, I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, man. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to make her laugh if she's in a bad mood. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'm not gonna
Exactly.
be
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah. So
Right.
that, and then I was gonna say something else, but I forget what I was gonna say. It's mainly just like the friendship though, and like
Hmm. Yeah.
just enjoying, like wanting to be with that person, like
Yes. Yeah.
all the
Hmm.
time. Kind of, I think is good.
Literally all of that, and like just showing like you care always at the end of the day too, like
Yeah.
even like because everybody gets in like tiny like arguments once in a while, like even
Yeah.
if I got in that, I'd still open the door for her, I'd still
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
her that like I'd still show her like it's just an argument at the end of the day, and we'll get
Yeah.
past this.
Yeah. And it doesn't like we were said earlier, it's like kind of like the truth is still the same. It's like I still love
Yeah.
you, you still love
Right.
me. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't like
Yeah.
change anything that is
Doesn't
real.
change
You know what I
anything.
mean?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's just if people let it get to that point in their head where they think it's a bigger deal than it is, you know.
Yep.
But
Exactly. Exactly.
I think for our age group, I think this is kind of I mean, this applies to everyone, but I
Mm-hmm.
also think with me and Jocelyn when I first met her,
Mm-hmm.
because I had just had like 2 years of on and off in relationships with different people, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I realized that like looking back on it, like when I met someone like her, it was almost like I had done toxic things before and I have hurt people before, and it's like
Right. Right.
I care about her so much, like I never want to hurt her in any
Mm-hmm.
type of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was
Mhm.
able to like self-reflection, which I think is important, but like
Mhm.
look back because I feel like people get out of bad relationships and they're like, that person was terrible. I look
Yeah.
back in that relationship and I'm like, that person like had some negative qualities, but like I was right there too. Like I
Yeah,
fed into
yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
It's like I wasn't much better.
Yeah. So I when I met her, I was kind of like it's kind of like the golden rule, you know, do unto others as you want to be done to you. And
Literally, yeah.
that's why I told her. And I think that's like that was kind of like the foundation of our relationship. I'm just like, hey,
Mhm.
like I'm like the simplest things. Like
Yeah.
it would probably make me uncomfortable, like personally, if you went out with your girlfriends and did XYZ, you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I'm never going to do that. Where like a lot of people I think just do what they want to do and they don't think about the other person.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
like
Like
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
just yeah, so many relationships like you see, like
Yeah.
I've seen so many where I'm like, okay, I'm like there's definitely like issues here, even if they see it or not. And like they'll both do like whatever they want to do. And like,
Yeah.
like even if it's hurting the other person, like they'll just keep doing it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not good, at the end of the day. That's not gonna be
Yeah.
good.
And yeah, it's just, I, yeah, I put myself, try to like, it's putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And I feel like
Absolutely,
if
yeah.
more, well, if it's a very serious relationship, and they want to
Mm,
last a while, I think that's like probably
mhm,
one of the best things you can do. Cause it's like,
mhm.
I know what hurts me. I've been around enough to know like, hey, this doesn't work well in relationships, even though
Right.
it might be like not even in a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just an
Hmm.
added anxiety. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like
Hmm.
certain things are like, I always say, I'm like, it's not that like, you don't trust the person. It's just like
Hmm.
that would like add something else to my like cup kind of and be like, oh, now
Right.
that's something else to worry about. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Where it's like it doesn't need to be
Exactly.
there. And if your
Yeah.
priority is the right way, then it's like you could almost argue that the desire isn't there either. So
Hmm. Yep.
it just depends on the individual in the relationship. Cause at our age, there's
Mhm.
like a lot of people that are just like dating, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
of course you guys don't respect each other because you know what I mean? Like that's not the
Hmm.
mindset they have.
Right.
So,
Right.
and it's like you can't really tell people too that are in relationships
Hmm.
that are toxic that
Yeah.
they're in
Yeah.
relationships that
Exactly.
are toxic
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you're
because
in
it's
that
just
relationship, yeah, you
yeah,
can't say it right there. That's not gonna make it better.
yeah. You got
But.
like friends or whatever, and you're like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
But then I look back and I'm like, yeah, I was at that point too. So, whatever.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's good to remember
Yep.
where you came from, I guess.
Yep. Yep. It's learned to have experiences. It's good to learn and grow, and all that.
Yeah. And also throwing out there like to everyone else, it's like I feel like you should never like regret any of that kind of, you know what I mean? Because it makes you who
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
Like I always
Exactly.
think I'm like there are a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have done
Hmm.
if I knew like
Hmm.
how it would affect me, but
Right.
like I don't necessarily regret them because like
Right.
I'm much smarter today because of those
Yeah,
things. So,
I think living
but
life with no regrets is like the most important thing because it's literally those regrets makes you who you are. And like
yeah,
the way I look at stuff, I try to be as optimistic as I can. And no matter what like hardships or anything hard I'm going through in life, like I always look at it like I'm learning from this. Like no matter what's
yeah,
happening right now, I'm gonna learn to be better today than I was yesterday. And all you can do is learn and become better. So those help you at the end of the day.
yeah. And it's definitely hard for us as men, like we were talking about, to like
Hmm.
just like take failure. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's like, oh
Yeah.
man,
Yep.
not again. Or like
Yeah.
I've been in my life to the point where like I've been so anxious just about failing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or doing
Yeah.
something wrong. And it's
Yep,
like,
dude. Literally
man, you have
distraction
to
perfectly.
understand that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like I always like. There's literally been days where like nonstop, like I think in my head, like like I got to do this right. Like if I do this wrong, I'm a failure. This, and that. But then you just can't let your thoughts ramp up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also like this is random, but since we're
Yeah.
having the conversation, sometimes like
Yeah.
social media definitely ties into people's mental health, and
Hmm.
especially like younger people. I feel like as we get older, we can kind of
Absolutely.
like decipher what is real and what isn't. But it's like I
Literally.
also probably within like the last 2 years only
Yeah.
have I reached like the point in my head where I see like maybe it's
Hmm.
a fitness influencer or just anyone like of that level, and I'm like,
Hmm.
they're literally just normal people like me,
Normal
like
people.
you.
Yep.
They're all
Yep.
normal people, and it's just like
Exactly.
they just a lot more people know them. That's it. But they
Yeah.
still
Yep.
face the same daily struggles. Like these
Uh
fitness
huh.
dudes, they definitely have days where they're like, I'm not feeling it. Or like
Yeah.
they just slam
Absolutely.
a couple of donuts because they want
Yeah.
to. You know what I mean? You just don't see
Absolutely.
their
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
And
Uh huh.
it's like once I realized that, I was like, that's when like things like the podcast and stuff like I have the passion to do those things. Cause
Yeah.
before it's like, no one knows me. And then it's like,
Yeah.
well, it doesn't really matter. You're just a person and so are they,
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's how I look at
Yeah.
it kind of.
Exactly. That literally we're all just humans at the end of the day. Like me
Yeah.
myself, like I've tried to start like fitness like TikToks, like Instagram, stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like
Oh yeah, me too.
and then like you start to think like, wait, people are also doing this, but they're just more famous than you. They're like
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
just like me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes I'm really like, dude, like I know guys with better physique than this person, but they got a
Yeah,
million
dude,
followers, so that's
absolutely.
cool, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. But I do
Hmm.
think that kind of helped my mental health, and especially with like
Hmm.
my like personal goals, like even with
Mhm.
education, now that I'm like
Yeah.
pursuing my bachelor in psychology, I want to like
Mhm.
I plan to further my education. But like a
Yeah.
while back, I always was like, oh, like anyone with like a master's or a PhD is like so smart and like, and I'm over here,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, dude, you're now I'm 25, but at the time, like
Yeah.
23 years old, dude. They were 23
Yeah.
too. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't sell
Exactly.
yourself short. But that's
Yeah.
that's like the mindset I had, and you
Mhm.
kind of that like all comes from working on myself. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if I would have just stayed who I was, like ignoring everything, drinking all the
Yeah.
time, it's like you wouldn't make these discoveries about yourself. I guess is what I would say.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
All right,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the mental health club a little bit.
Mhm.
What motivated you to take on the role as the vice president? I don't know
Mhm.
what all this entails. I don't know how big of a deal it is to you
Yeah.
or to everyone in it, or like what you guys do.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
just run with it, explain it,
Yeah,
whatever.
I got you. Yeah. So, pretty much at Coastal, what it is I had two buddies before I actually met them. They started it together. And then the next year, as it was going on, I saw it like walking around that they wanted more people to join the club. So I joined it. And, I was like, why not? And after I joined it, I became like best friends with a lot of those people and really good friends. And they were like, "Oh yeah, man, like we're really good friends with you now. We know like you want to help people, so do you want to be the vice president?" I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And so after that, we always just worked together. Tried to have a good time together. And what like we do in it is this semester we kind of had some issues with like setting up the club and stuff because something with like the Coastal app or whatever the website it wasn't
Yeah,
going through, so we couldn't have a meeting just yet, but we're about to work it out now. But last year, all what we did was we were mainly like we would talk about our issues if we had it, but we'd also like love to like go bowling and just do like fun stuff to
yeah,
get our minds off of stuff. And I think that's like a very healthy way to do stuff. But like anytime we were like in a classroom like having a meeting or whatever, we would talk
hmm
about like, hey, like if we do have issues, any problems, like let's let's talk about it. This is a safe space, and we would do just that. And I think it benefits me as well being in that because I like to not only talk about what's going on in my life, but I like to give other people advice and help them. And getting that satisfaction that you just like help somebody, I think
hmm
is just unmatched. I think that's such a great thing in life. So
yeah, it's cool, man. So with that, how has your position influenced your understanding on men's mental health? Like, has having these relationships with these other guys
hmm
like shown you maybe like, hey, like what I'm experiencing
hmm
what I'm experiencing. Sorry, I can't talk apparently.
you're
Uh,
good.
just got done with my 4 mile run. Now I'm over here like
Yep, there you
tweaking out.
go.
but um, but yeah. So how has that like influenced your understanding of that?
Yeah, so I think like let alone like mental health is bad, but I think like these guys like relating to them specifically, like right when I walked in there and we had a meeting and stuff, seeing everybody and seeing how just normal they looked, like every single person just was just like we were talking about, it's a normal person just like you.
Yeah.
Everybody's just normal people. And there'd be football players in there, baseball players, some people would just be like just chilling in there, and like I would see them and I'm like, okay, I'm like, this really is impacting everybody, and mental health, it does affect everybody no matter who you are. It's just a matter if it's worse or better, anything like that. And yeah, I think making connections with them, talking to them, I think really widen my view just because it's like, wow, they're dealing with the same stuff, and helping them doing anything along those lines, it was great.
Yeah, I definitely think it's in my experience, it's like realizing that other people like struggle with the same things. Like I feel like
Mhm.
it's such like a dark place to be when you
Mhm.
think like you're the only person. And we
Yeah.
all do that. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, no one else thinks like this. And it's
Always.
like
Yeah.
once you like for me, like even like way back, like when I was in high school, I was like super involved in my youth group, and we'd have
Yeah.
like small group meetings with the guys, and it's like some of the
Mhm.
stuff that these guys would say, I'd be like, what the heck? But I'd
Yeah.
also be like, I say that because I'm like, I'm the same way. But I would
Yeah.
never say
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like
Exactly. Yeah.
they're like bravery to like come out and like say something is
Mm-hmm.
like was impacting me because I was like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
that's the normal thing. I'm not
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Cool, cool.
right,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. You're like it's affecting everybody, not just me.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And also just talking about it, there's something about just like letting the words come out of yourself that is
Mhm.
like eases that like load that you're carrying on your back. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like this. It's like when something good happens, you want to tell people. It's the same way. It should be
Yeah.
the same way. You know, it's like once you
Mm-hmm.
tell someone you feel really good because you shared the news. It's like you should also need to do that with like the negative things. You know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
obviously
Right.
have people you trust and a good support system. But
Right. Yeah.
um, so the next question is we already answered it, but it was kind of like how has it impacted your mental health journey? So I know you said during COVID, you realized your friends were kind of experiencing the same thing. So
Mm-hmm.
you are part of the men's mental health club, but like kind of
Yeah.
tie in how your friends during COVID is almost like the social structure is kind of
Mhm.
like the club. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
someone who's not
Right.
part of a club can still
Right.
have that group of people, kind of like
Yeah.
that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like literally like no matter what, like if you're having issues, like we're all having the same issues, and I think that like being in the club, even hearing them, like they sounded just like my friends that like aren't at Coastal and in the
Yeah.
club, like they sounded the exact same. And I think like no matter who you are, like we can all come together and realize that this is a big issue, and that we're all there for each other, experiencing the same thing. This is all of us, all of ours first time living too, you know. So I think just yeah, just having a widened view that we're all going through stuff, and that doesn't matter when, where, how it happened, that we're there for each other. And yeah.
Yeah. It's good, man. It's cool that you
Yeah.
guys that those two dudes took the step to do that because I know
Yeah,
that
for sure. Yeah,
creating a club can be a process and all that. So
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
that's cool that they were willing to do it, like something that important to them. They thought it was
yeah.
that important, you
Right. Yeah.
know. So I'm gonna tap into the closing questions. We'll probably wrap it up
Yeah.
around an hour, and we're at
Yeah.
like 52
Gotcha.
minutes. But
Yeah.
so I know we might have already like kind of hit on these things, but if we have,
Mhm.
just view it as kind of like a recap or like
Yeah.
this is the closing questions. So like your final thoughts kind of to
Yeah.
the audience, right?
Mhm.
What advice would you give to men who might be struggling with their mental health but are hesitant to seek help?
I think at the end of the day, man, like you just got to look at it that we're all humans, and you are never weak to come out and talk about your feelings. No matter what you went through, somebody is going to be there to listen to you, and somebody is going to be there to help you. No matter what. I know for me, I've literally just seen like scrolling, like just something as simple as a comment of people saying that they're going through something. I'll DM them personally and be like, "Hey, man, like, let's talk about it." And there has been people like I've helped just on my own terms, and
Yeah,
it's an amazing feeling. And there's been times where I needed help, and other people were there for me as well. So you just have to look at it that if you need help with your mental health journey, you're not weak, and that my DMs are even open. Like if you ever need help with that, there's always going to be somebody there for you. So yeah,
yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll put your Instagram in the
yeah,
bio of this YouTube video if that's
yeah,
cool with
for
you.
sure.
But
Yeah,
I like that you hit on that though, because I've like been through like hard times like in my personal journey where like the
yeah,
people that I winded up talking to like on like
hmm,
over text, messenger, DM, whatever it may be, are like
yeah,
sometimes the most random, like someone you would never expect. You know what I mean? Like it was
yeah,
someone that like I know, but like I'm not
uh-huh.
close to them. And then they would
Yeah,
like hit me up, be like, how you doing? And I'm like, well, this is at the perfect time to be like, not that great, you know?
right, right, yeah,
Which is cool because I know everyone has different ideas with their faith and like what they believe in, but sometimes
right,
it's interesting to see like the timing, the person,
mhm,
why them, stuff like
yeah,
that. So
hmm,
that's cool.
yeah,
So looking ahead, what are your goals for the club?
hmm,
And personally going forward, I know you talked about your major and your minor, but
hmm,
what are your goals like long term with mental health? Like if you have
yeah.
any right now.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I think with the club, just for me, I just want to help as many people as possible. Just seeing like the small group that we did have with the club come in, and realize that these are all people that had issues or dealt with something, and they wanted to be a part of something. I think in the future, just getting more and more of those people, because I know some people like do you know what OK Day is? Like when we did like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
clubs and stuff. Yeah. So
yeah,
at OK Day, I was at our booth and stuff, and like there'd be some people that walk by and they're like, I want to, but maybe not, and you could tell like they're still like that they want to, but they don't want to take that extra
yeah.
step. So my goal would just be getting more people, helping them, talking about stuff, us being just a good community. Um, and yeah, I think that's very beneficial for sure. And then my long term goal, I would say career wise, I don't know if I exactly want to be like in this psychology stance, but no matter
Yeah.
what, I think on the side, I'm always going to be doing something to impact people. Even if it's, psychology can go many ways. It could be therapy, it could be just helping people,
Yeah.
anything along those lines. So I think, something as simple as talking to a homeless guy on the side of the street. I think something as simple as, just making somebody's day. If you see they're going through something, um, message them directly, talk to them in person, try to see if you can help in any way. I think that psychologically does wonders, and I'll always be that person that tries to do my best with that. So even
That's
something
cool,
like
man.
this, even something like a podcast like this, I think that's a great idea to help
Yeah.
people spread awareness, stuff like that. So you're doing a great thing for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah, like something like that, like
Yeah.
is I think is a great thing. So yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And
yeah, of course.
one last question, just out of curiosity, did like
Mhm.
your own mental health journey, is that the reason you decided to like minor in psychology?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it actually is like the exact reason I did. Um,
Yeah.
because after I had more knowledge about it and awareness, and I was just interested in it, I was like, I got to throw that in there. Like that's something that is like a genuine passion of mine. So
Yeah.
I think for sure adding that in there had to do exactly with that.
Yeah, that's cool. Cause for me,
Yeah.
I started out freshman year as a business
Yeah.
major. And I
Okay.
was like,
Yeah.
dude, if I have to sit through one more class on Excel or something, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fall out of college, bro.
Dude.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I had always been like interested and passionate about
Yeah.
psychology, mainly
Yeah.
specifically, not to like go into in depth, but just how like why people believe like what they believe, like religion,
Right.
stuff like that, like kind of like
Right.
how
Yeah.
that ties into it. That's what sparked my interest
Mhm.
in psych. But
Mhm.
I like had like people, like just random people, no one really close to me, but just people in my life that
Mhm.
like when you mention a psychology degree, they're like, you what do you plan to do with that? You know what I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
it's almost like downplayed. So that
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
steered me in the wrong direction to like
Uh-huh.
start the business degree. And then I realized I'm like,
Right.
dude, which I think is like such a another like point in my life that really like
Mhm.
impacted me and like
Yeah.
kind of changed my trajectory, is like deciding like, nah, I don't care what anyone thinks, man. I'm gonna do what I like to do. You know what I mean? And
Dude,
now I
yeah.
come
And
home
I
and
bet
I
that was
like,
so healing for you too. Like I bet like
oh
that
yeah,
just felt good.
like,
Doing
and
what you want to
it was
do, it's just such a great
it was
feeling.
under like funny circumstances too, because it
Yeah.
was like it was after a night of like drinking till 3 or 4 a.m. I woke up and I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I like
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
Coastal, like met with
Dude,
my
yeah.
advisor, and I'm like, I'm switching my major. And then after
Yeah.
that, it's like that's when everything like started falling into place. It's like a month
Yeah.
after that I met Jocelyn and like all this stuff. So it was
Dude,
really
yeah.
cool. But now
Yeah,
I
man. It's
I
awesome.
like actually enjoy what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Even
Dude,
though
yeah.
it's work, you know,
Yeah.
schoolwork,
Yeah.
but
That's what it's supposed to be at the end of the day. You
yeah.
need to enjoy life while we're here. You need to enjoy it as you can.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do, not what others want you to do, not what people
Yeah.
say, talk about. What's true in your heart, you just got to stick to that and do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. All right,
Hmm.
dude. So I'll wrap it up, but I really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thanks for
dude.
being on the
Dude, this is
podcast.
awesome.
I'm
For sure,
also
man.
would in the future, maybe down the road, have you on again and just talk
Yeah,
about more
dude.
stuff, more in
I'd
depth. All
love
right.
that, dude. That'd be awesome for sure.
All right. Tag your say your Instagram one more time so people can look for you and whatever
I
else you have
got you.
going on, and then
Yeah.
we'll end it, man.
So my Instagram is underscore Ethan underscore Nichols underscore. TikTok Ethan underscore Nichols. And then yeah, that's pretty much the two things I use. So yeah, man.
All right, man. Cool. Thanks for joining. Appreciate your time,
Yeah,
man.
this has been great. Yeah, have a good
All
one,
right.
bro.
Yep, you too. Bye.
See ya.